I want to explore this place called Franz. It's a little ghost town along the Algoma Central Railway. There's a lot of areas I'd like to explore along that railroad section. A lot of stories all along it. It's where my grandma spent her early years. While I don't have all the details, at some point, at least by the time my grandmother was born in 1940, her family was living in the Franz area. Her mother Rose passed away within a year after her birth. Her grandmother Mary raised her for the first 5 years of her life, while her father Renison was out trapping in the bush to make a living for them. It was during these years her grandmother Mary spoke in Ojibwe to her until her passing. She would miss her for the rest of her life. Stories, all kinds of stories. I remember my grandmother saying she was young, walking along with her friend, when they came across a big bull moose. Her friend decided to tease the moose by making noises and sticking her tongue out at it. The moose got angry and showed it was ready to charge. They ran for their lives and managed to scramble up this big boulder nearby, and the moose wasn't able to reach them. They went back to that boulder the next day, and no matter how hard they tried, they couldn't get back on top of it. That rock must still be there somewhere in the area. I wonder if I can find it. She also remembers secret ceremonies taking place during those years. They were secret because Canada had banned Indigenous ceremonies and made them illegal during that time, and the adults kept them from the children for everyone's safety. She remembered hearing singing and drumming and smelling medicines coming from the structure, and would peek inside, only to be told she had to go play outside. I wonder where that was. I wonder if I can find it. My grandma also came to learn how to play guitar during her years there. Music would go on to be a lifelong passion of hers. Her brother had a guitar and would tell her not to touch it before he would head out. Of course, she would touch it and eventually learned how to play. One time he came back, astonished to see her playing. He asked her if she learned how to play with his guitar, and she just smiled and looked at him and said, "Yep." Music was a gift she shared with many. This railway, the Algoma Central Railway, also brought my grandparents together. My grandpa, a Frenchman from Quebec, came to Ontario looking for work and started to work the ACR. That train eventually brought him to France, and they eventually met, and eventually fell in love, and eventually got married, and eventually had children. Stories. These are just a handful of stories. Some of the lighter ones, the nicer ones. There were also stories of sadness and pain, things that happened that shouldn't have. There's something calling to me to find those hearths that were once there, to find those hauntings where joy and anger, laughter and tears, life and death, love and hate, stories and memories, both good and bad, all within that land. I've never been there, yet I need to find it. This place where hauntings and heart remain.